I know what you're thinking. Oh no, Ginger, it's raining. You can't ride electric scooters. But I'm here to tell you that you can, because this scooter that I'm riding has an IP54 water resistance rating. Aha! So let me roll the intro and I'll tell you more about this scooter that we're riding. All right, let's go ahead and roll over to the park. So this is our throttle right here. We have to kick the scooter and then we can use our thumb throttle. You just push down on the red piece to get it to go. Like I said, you do have to kick it to get it going. That's because it does have a kickstart function, and I regret to inform you that you cannot turn it off. So if you gotta start the scooter and you're facing uphill, you do have to kick the scooter. It's a little bit cumbersome, but it's a nice safety feature for people who really don't know what they're doing. The scooter does have a rear suspension. It's got a bigger battery than the 9-Bot Max by a smidgen, and it's $150 cheaper. It's only 650 bucks. I was very excited to review this scooter when I learned that it had the dual battery setup. I'll show you a little bit more about that when we get to the park. Between the suspension, the dual battery setup, the IP54 water resistance rating, and the 20 mile per hour advertised top speed, I figured, maybe it's worth our time to review this little scooter. See if I can ride it around through most of the battery, and if it doesn't break, then we'll give it a seal of approval. Because we are riding around in the rain right now, and everything's getting soaking wet. So we've got full charge, and as far as I can tell, I'm in speed mode 3. Our top speed is 17 miles per hour, not 20. The scooter is very comfortable to ride. I don't feel cramped at all. It's actually one of the only scooters I've ever ridden where I feel like it might be a little bit too long. Like I'm comfortable, more than comfortable, just standing like in the middle of the deck. But most scooters, I'm standing towards the back of the deck. But the bars are nice and low, and that little folding mechanism down there kind of extends the bars forward, maybe like 3 or 4 inches. So it makes it so your bars aren't cramped right into your chest. Less prone to speed wobbles that way too, because less of your weight is over the front tire. This thing has a 450 watt motor with a 36 volt system, and it does bog down pretty seriously on hills. It's kind of a bummer. Any sort of hill going on, and you can expect like 10-15 miles an hour. But if you want the 20 mile an hour, you gotta be going on the flat for maybe like a block or downhill. When you hit the brakes on this thing, it does have an electronic brake in the front, and then it has a disc brake in the back. So the electronic brake will engage anytime that you touch the brake lever. Okay, here we are at the park. Let's hop off the scooter and I'll go ahead and show you around. All right, so these are our handlebars from left to right. You can see these are just pretty small around, nothing to write home about grips. It does have a little bell here though, so you can let pedestrians know that you're coming up behind them. It has one brake lever right here, and it's just got one cable that goes through to the back brake right there. When you pull the brake lever, it does have 2 brake lights that flash in the back there, on the left and the right side like that. And also when you pull the brake lever, like I was saying earlier, it has an electronic motor in the front, and it acts as an electronic brake when you pull the brakes. And then it isn't until you overpower the electronic motor that the rear disc brake will engage. So it's got this display here. It's pretty hard to read in the sunlight, I'm noticing. And there's just one button on the whole scooter. It's just this. You hold it on 3 seconds to turn it on, 3 seconds to turn it off. Tap it once to turn the headlight on. It's got a little headlight in the top there. You can turn it on and off just by tapping once. If you double tap, it'll go through the speed modes. I doubt you'll be able to see it, but I'm in speed mode 1 now. Double tap, speed mode 2, double tap, speed mode 3. Showing we're in miles per hour. And then this is our battery gauge right here. You'll see it has 2 bars, and that's because we have 2 batteries. So there's that inner ring and then there's the outer ring. And the battery right here in the stem, check this out. Pull this up. You can actually pull this battery out of the stem, like that. And you can throw a spare one of these in your backpack or like in your office. And this thing does have a little stand that you click it into and it charges, so you can have the stand in your office. And like if you're in an area where you can't bring the scooter into your work or something, or your school, you just secretly click the battery in the corner inside and no one will know. And you'll see it's showing right now, the inner ring is blinking. That's because the inner battery ring is missing. But the outer one is still there, and the scooter will work with just one battery. So you can have this thing not even plugged in and it'll work. The batteries are strung together in parallel, so they don't both need to be plugged in for the scooter to work. And then it just clicks right back in, and we're back in business. you'll see both of our battery rings are fixed. But that's really cool. You can charge this thing, like I said, on the external battery stand, but it also does have a plug right here. And you can plug the charger into that, and it'll charge both of the batteries in the scooter simultaneously. It's got one battery here, and then there's one in the deck. And that's a pretty big advantage because a lot of these scooters that have all the batteries in the deck are really low to the ground, but you can see this thing still manages to have a really slim form factor, even though it's got battery in the deck. So they just moved half of it up to the bars so that you're not like 1 inch away from the ground, bottoming out on everything and damaging the battery. Pretty genius. Not to mention, underneath here we got 2 springs, we have rear suspension. It's got the water resistance rating, IP54, so you know you can go through some splashes on this thing in some very light rain like we are right now. Anything harder than this and you probably don't want to ride it around, but this is fine. It's got a nice big wide kickstand, so you can have this kickstand and just put it on your hardwood floor in your house and it's not going to leave marks. But scooters like the Varla Eagle 1 Pro have really thin kickstands, and they'll leave marks on your floor and they'll sink into the grass and the scooter will fall over. But you're looking for nice wide kickstands and this has one. So to fold it, it's pretty straightforward. You just push this little bead up here, pull the latch down, and then the scooter goes like that. I have to guess maybe about 40 pounds for weight, around there. And you can take the battery and the stem out and that'll take about, 5 to 7 pounds out if you want to do that. Get it to click back in place is pretty straightforward as well, just like that. And then you push the little lock piece down. So, 5-second folding, pretty straightforward. So it looks like you gotta be pushing it 2 miles per hour before the throttle will work. And that is the safety mechanism. If you panic and grab the grips and hit the throttle on accident, your scooter won't launch into the road. All right, we burnt through about half the battery and we've established this thing is at least somewhat water resistant. So let's go ahead and ride home and we'll see if it makes it home. I guess it's got the Ginger seal of approval. The TurboAnt V8. Took a nice little beating. Jumped it off a couple curbs. For 650 bucks, I don't think you're gonna find a better scooter. Let's see, what else can you buy for 650? Maybe the, is the Highboy S2 Max, is that 650? Because I think that might be a slightly better scooter because it has more volts, but does not have removable battery feature. One other thing about the dual battery setup is that it allows you to charge the scooter twice as fast. When you compare the thing to something like the 9-Bot Max, which has 1 charge port, this thing, you can charge the stem battery in its own little holder, its own little charging port, and then you can plug the actual scooter charger into the scooter itself and charge the battery that's in the deck. So you can charge the total battery twice as fast. I can definitely tell that they tried their best to wire the thing for speed versus torque, and I kind of wish they hadn't. I wouldn't mind a few miles per hour slower if the thing had more torque, because I'm noticing on hills and just off the line, there isn't a lot of giddy up. Even though it's got a 450 watt motor, it still kind of struggles a little bit. So motor's not very strong, but the advantage to that is you're gonna have a lot more range. It's a give and take. This scooter is definitely geared more towards range and battery and charging than it is towards like sportiness or torque. I like most things about the scooter, but one thing I'm not a huge fan of is the headlight. It's kind of puny. Hard to see. I'd imagine that'd be hard to see even when it's dark, but it does look like it has some real estate here to mount aftermarket flashlights if you want to. And I do sell the PEV Firelight. If you go to pevfirelight.com, you can check out the flashlight that I made. Works on most e-bike and scooter handlebars, and it's just a blazingly bright light with an OLED display and a super huge battery. So pevfirelight.com if you want to check that out. You might not have to deal with a tiny little scooter headlight like this one. All right, here's the true test for speed. We've got about 50% battery left. You can see our little battery bars are getting low. Let's floor it down this little street and see how fast it goes now. Does it still go 20 miles an hour even with low battery? Nope, it's looking more like 18 miles an hour. So it still holds top speed pretty well, but it's much lower than it was before, obviously. All right, up this hill, this is the test. This is a pretty steep hill. We've got low battery. I'm 220 pounds. The scooter is still going, but not any speed that you want to write home about. 3 miles per hour. Might as well be walking. I don't know, would you get off and walk at this rate, or would you just stand on it and look like a guy going 3 miles an hour on a scooter? All right, so I just noticed the scooter does have cruise control. If you hold the throttle in the same spot for long enough, it seemed like probably 8 seconds, the scooter will go boop, and then it will lock the speed on. Right now it's locked on full throttle, but full throttle up this hill is like 4 miles an hour. So that's what our cruise is set to. All right, you guys, well, that's gonna do it for my very short ride review on the TurboAnt V8. We've shown that it's pretty darn water resistant. It's got a nice 20-mile-per-hour top speed, at least that's what it shows on the display. It's got some air-filled tires and suspension, so it's a pretty comfortable ride. I like how long the deck is. It's got the electronic brake in the front and then the disc brake in the back, and it's also got the dual battery setup. So it's ideal for somebody who wants a little more range out of their very entry-level commuter and also might not be able to charge their scooter exactly where they park it. So that's all for this scooter review. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys for the next one.